Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Matt Dana, managing partner of Dana Whiting Law, and with my co-founder here, Mr. Trevor Whiting.
Hey, Matt. How are you?
Good to have you, Trevor. So, Trevor, today we're going to talk about kind of an area of the practice that we've been growing the last 2 years, and we're going to talk about what is a family office, what's a multi-family office, what kind of services are available, how are those services priced, and Trevor, you and I have been doing this. I'm, over 40 years into it. You're over, 15, 16 years into it. And this idea of family office, the last 5 or 6 years is really growing a lot of arms and legs.
Yeah, it does.
And you're hearing a lot of people talk about it and search for it. And, their buddies are talking about it out there on the golf course. And it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But my first question to you is, tell me basically, in your experience, what does it mean to have a family office? What does that mean?
Yeah, to me, when you boil it down to its core definition, having a family office is just making sure that all of your professional advisors, attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, that they're all coordinated and collaborating to provide cohesive, advice and strategies to the family that they're serving, and then that can be done in multi different ways. We talk about multi-family office, that maybe there's a group of professionals that provides those services to several families. Some families, especially the very high net worth families, they might have a single family office. They might employ their own CPA and financial advisor and attorney and stuff that work in-house for them.
Yeah.
And that's one type of family office too.
Yeah, and I think that, there's just so much movement right now in estate planning, and I'm just so excited to be part of that movement. But, everybody sees the trillions of dollars that's going to change hands over the next 15, 20 years. And everybody's looking at what's the best way that we can serve this movement of wealth. And you use that term coordinated, and that's kind of been a word I've been fascinated with, because I'm toying with the idea of maybe naming a family office that we're going to get together, just coordinated, right? And the question is, really, who kind of leads up that family office, and what service is the quarterback? And as I get into this, I'm seeing commercials on television that and there's a ton of them out there on social media. And I'm going to say some things that might rock some people, but I think there's a lot of movement out there that, the financial advisors want to drive this train. I saw a commercial, I can't even remember who it was, and I probably shouldn't say it anyway, but they were making a good point. Their point is that their attorney or their CPA has never talked to the financial guy, or the financial guy's never talked to the attorney and CPA. And I think we all agree there should be a discussion there at a certain level, right? Now, you take what we call core estate planning clients, you're worth a few $1 million. I don't think there's a whole lot to coordinate there, right? You go to the estate planner and he's going to do a nice job on your trust, and you work with your financial guy. But to me, and I think, Trevor, you agree with this, what has to be coordinated, I've thought a lot about this, what really drives the bus here. And I think you and I believe what's driving the bus is tax benefit and tax savings. I start thinking about, when you put together a financial plan, one question is, what type of a structure do you use? Do you use an LLC? Do you use a trust? Well, that's tax driven, right?
Right.
What type of investing do you do? Do you do stocks? Do you do bonds? Do you sell and get capital gains? That's tax driven. So to me, I think I'm biased obviously, but I think the tax attorneys or the CPAs, or a combination of the tax attorneys and the CPAs, I think we're driving the bus. I think tax motivates. But do you have a different opinion on that? Or, are you seeing what I'm seeing out there? This idea needs to be coordinated is a good idea, but I just don't like where I'm seeing financial advisors use the statement that they can provide financial advisor-led estate planning better, cheaper than attorney-led estate planning. They're almost making like working with an attorney is a bad thing, and I that upsets me.
Yeah, and that's part of that collaboration. I don't disagree. The attorneys and the CPAs, I mean, they're a very important part of that collaboration.
Got to all work together.
We all work together, and for the betterment of the family that's being served by that family office, and the tax decisions and strategies that are implemented, have very specific requirements that need to be met and need to be handled, and so because of those requirements, there may be specific ways that assets should be invested, for income or for growth or for, to diversify or to, diversify or something like that.
Yeah.
That there needs to be that collaboration with that financial advisor. And when a strategy, like some of these tier 3 strategies that we've talked about, are implemented, we need to make sure that the financial advisor understands what their marching orders are and what their instructions are, to make sure that the rules and compliance requirements of those tax strategies are followed, so we avoid an IRS challenge or an IRS claim that it was done improperly or something like that. So it definitely needs to be tax driven and tax led. And the attorney and CPA should be a big part of that.
Yeah. What about what would you consider would be the types of services that we would offer? We're creating a family office page, and we're listing out some services that we would provide. But what do you think of the services, the basic service that really a family office needs?
Yeah, a lot of it is really, it's just expanding on that concept of coordination. And so some of it is that, we want to meet with our clients that are signing up for our family office services. We want to meet with them, at least 2 times a year, probably every quarter, and meet with them quarterly. And on most of those meetings, we have the financial advisor and the CPA there as well, so that we can make sure that we're coordinated. Some of those meetings we might involve the next generation of the family and have the kids come in and be part of that meeting too, so that we can talk about budgets and distributions and things like that. Then a lot of the follow-up after those meetings is the additional services that we're going to provide. It's documenting the decisions that are made in those meetings, and then drafting the documents that need to be put into place to implement the strategies that are determined to be done at those meetings.
These strategies need to be tweaked all the time.
They do.
Right? You work with these high net worth clients we're working with, and we're seeing them at least quarterly and sometimes even monthly, because like you say, their assets are going up and down, and NVIDIA's up here, it's down here. Tax laws are changing, dynamics of the families change, and you've got, there again, if your estate's a few $1 million, these changes don't move the needle at all. But when you're dealing with millions of dollars and maybe hundreds of $millions, it moves that needle quite a bit. So the other thing is the software out there is getting very good at this. And can you imagine, some of these clients, as you well know, I think one of our clients told us he gets 64 K1s every year, and he has with us probably, 15 different, maybe 20 different trusts doing different things. And he's got maybe a couple of partnerships, and some own sports teams and some own businesses. And, can you imagine the accounting work of all that stuff, even trying to figure out what the client's net worth is? But with this software now, tell me what some of this family office software, what it's capable of doing out there.
Yeah, what it's intended to do is to help just track and monitor the holistic portfolio and all the assets that the family owns, and integrating the structures that we're putting in there as the tax advisors. We, like you say, we set up green boxes for different types of irrevocable trusts. We set up different partnerships and LLCs to get the squeeze and the discounts that we want. And so now we have assets that are owned by different different buckets, and they're in different locations, and the software does a great job of consolidating all that reporting and being able to do a report on asset allocations.
Yeah, what percentage do you have in bonds across 20 different entities?
Right. And, but it does take, sometimes it takes a full-time bookkeeper to keep on top of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't like
and
that
track
word bookkeeper. That's CFO, right?
You need a CFO family CFO to make sure that those are being taken care of.
So family office software important, this coordination's important, follow-up and consistency is important. And, in a family office, there's different services that you can pick and choose how many you want the family office to take care of. We talked to some of our clients and said, well, my airplane's being managed by this and my yacht's being managed by this, or you might have them where, my family office is managing everything. They're doing my banking, they're doing my, my lending and my borrowing, I talked to a lady yesterday from Beverly Hills that her whole job is managing, these high net worth residences in Beverly Hills. Her whole job is just coordinate, landscaping and people coming in, fixing the mills and all that stuff, right? But I'm really excited that as we get into this family office world, Trevor, and I think there's a lot that we can offer in that world. Is there anything here in closing you want to say about a family office?
No, like we said at the beginning, it's kind of a buzzword out there. A lot of people are thinking about the concept of a family office, and there's different levels and different types of family office that can be implemented. And by our services, we can adapt and modify it to a client's specific situation to interact with their existing advisors, or we can bring in the advisors that we have that we work with so that there's collaboration and holistic coordination of a client's plan.
Yeah, and we can work with their CPAs, or we have a group of CPAs. So we're really, we're not trying to shun anybody. We're there to work with whatever people they want to work with. But a lot of times they do want our suggestion, and we've got people that can help there.
That's right.
Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, good discussion.